Welcome to the DLLS Rangers Weekly Podcast, now part of the All City Network. Hit the subscribe button for YouTube and also become a DLLS diehard at www.alldlls.com. Now here's Jeff and John. Hey everybody, welcome to the DLLS Rangers Weekly Podcast. This is episode number 24, and today is the MLB and Rangers prediction show that Jeff and I'll get into a little bit later today. It's brought to you by, once again, the Round Rock Express, who have come on board. Jeff, you need to switch that hat, get that off of there. Big thanks to Round Rock, who have been with us for a long time now. But now as we move over to the DLLS headquarters and working there, they've come on board again. It's always a lot of fun with those guys.
Yeah, we went down there and did a show. I don't know if we'll have that opportunity again this year, though. I wouldn't be against it. But Chris and Chris down there, they're great, and we really enjoy all the support they've given us, and hope that they stay with us for into perpetuity. They're just fun people. They do a great job down there, running their stuff, and Dell Diamond is a good ballpark. They have great promotions, and again, they are subject to the whims of the organization. They don't know who's going to be on the roster, and they still go out there and do a great job. And it helps, of course, to have Nolan Ryan as the team owner. And
I've heard of him.
And all the things he's done. You might see a Nolan Ryan bobblehead every now and then, but this is their 25th anniversary season. So Round Rock Express turned 25 this year, so ought to be a really good time down there in Round Rock this season.
Absolutely. And of course, they took care of us last year. Like you said, it was such a fun time. Look forward to going down. Listen, they've started out their season 0-3 in Tacoma. They're flying home today, or probably late last night, whatever. They start a new series coming up tomorrow. But, the minor league recap, we're going to try to keep up with all of those. The other minor league teams start this Friday. Everyone else in the organization will start then. It's been a lot of fun just putting together a little fun thing on that. But we're not here to talk about that. Look, we want to get into the previews. We talked about doing this. It's been a busy schedule because there was an opening day and an opening series. And I want to recap the series this weekend against the Boston Red Sox. Opening day, we were both out there doing that. But good series all in all. I mean, if there was one downside to anything in the whole series, it might be that the bats weren't quite the rocking lineup that we've seen. I mean, they didn't put up the runs, but they scored when they needed to. They did what they needed to. They suffered a couple of injuries that weren't helpful in that situation, but taking 3 from 4 from Boston, who is one of the teams, some are picking to come out of that East. Of course, the Yankees hadn't hit 15 home runs yet, and looking at that with the new bats. But what'd you think of the overall series?
Yeah, the Rangers really could have swept them, but they also could have lost 3 out of 4. I mean, they played good baseball. The concerns about the offense might be there, but the lineup is so deep that they're just going to be able to score from anywhere in the order. On Friday night, the bottom of the order started it. Really on Thursday too, the bottom of the order played a big part in the offense. So, some guys are trying to get on track. Simeon and Seager and maybe Berger. They've all hit balls hard and they'll be fine. Yeah, I think the 2 injuries to the 2 Joshes are a little troubling, though. They don't think it's anything serious with Josh Young. They hope Josh Smith plays tonight to start the Cincinnati series. I guess everybody was worried about Luke Jackson after the first one on opening day, but he bounced back the next night with a 9-pitch save. Got the save yesterday. Got a little hairy there with 2 outs.
A little traffic, but
hey, the bullpen really performed well in this series.
Absolutely.
And 3 of the 4 starters did their job. Tyler Mahle, needed him to bounce back. Just couldn't find the strike zone.
Did y'all talk to him? I didn't see any interview for him. I kept trying to find it. I was kind of
no. He apparently did not. I wasn't there Saturday either. He apparently did not speak with the media, which we just talked about on the Daily Show. Had the team lost, I think he would have stayed around. But because he didn't factor in the decision, and there are so many other players and pitchers that did do good, he kind of left without checking with the media to see if they needed to talk to him. And really, at the end of the day, you don't need to talk to the starting pitcher if he's out after 1 2/3 innings and 6 other guys pitch behind him.
Yep. I can understand that. I mean, and Tyler's always been willing to talk, so I'm sure that's
Right.
he's not some guy that avoids the media or does anything like.
If he had been the losing pitcher in that game, or if the team had lost, he would have stayed around.
He would have stayed around and just took the medicine like they do. These guys are professionals. They know that the media has a job to do, and they got to do that. So I wasn't crazy. I was looking for some little spot of him, and he wasn't. So I can understand that. Really, he was kind of the low light of the whole thing. Really, it was all about not being able to find the strike zone. We've seen him in spring training. You and I saw him start. He looked fine in spring training, had a good outing while we were there. I mean, but when you can't throw strikes, that's just kind of what's going to happen. Teams are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's, look at what happened to Roki Sasaki, the prize offseason guy, and he couldn't throw a strike to save his life the other night because hitters are going to lay off of stuff if it's not, they can recognize spin, and they're just not going to swing at stuff. So, happy opening series, winning 3 out of 4. deGrom, 5 scoreless, even though he said afterward he wasn't at his best. The offense timely hits. We'll just leave it at that. Evaldi was great in the opener. Jack Leiter, first major league win.
Wow,
pretty good stuff without his best off-speed stuff. I don't think so. A lot to feel good about. A lot to build on. But now they're on the road, and Kumar Rocker tonight, then Evaldi and Leiter. So 2 rookies making some road starts. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and you want to see Rocker. You'd love to see Rocker go out there and do something similar. You don't necessarily have to go out there like Leiter and go 5 innings. And I mean, you'd like to see it, that's for sure. And he's obviously had some good starts and also had some struggles a little bit in spring training. But look, there's no doubt that when Rocker is throwing strikes, he's got the stuff. Good Lord, he's got an arm that's throwing up there in the high 90s with his off-speed stuff, which is great. deGrom. What's great about deGrom yesterday is, I could see he wasn't his best. We've seen him at his best. It's amazing. He wasn't at his best, but the guy knows how to pitch. I mean, he can change to anything he needs to. He obviously wasn't. Remember, he told us that in that start when we were there. He was landing weird. Kind of felt like he was landing off a little bit last night, too. He kept looking at the mound. But, boy, he knows how to, when it's a leverage situation, he knows how to work it.
Yeah, I mean, he has 4 pitches. The curveball is going to be a thing this year. And to be honest, Kyle Higashioka said afterward, all 4 of them can be weapons. That's how good this guy is. And he basically made the adjustment to go slider changeup yesterday midway through a start. He didn't strike out anybody in the first 2 innings, and he still finished with 6 strikeouts in a 5-inning start. So made the adjustment. He knows what he needs to work on. And, I think this guy is going to be A-OK.
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you something that's going to be good for this team if it holds up. The position that produced the most offense this weekend was the catching position. And both of those guys had great games in the games they were in. Of course, Jonah with the 2 home run game, which was great to see coming back. Higashioka has obviously, Higgy had hits in both ball games and looked good at the plate. I'm semi-concerned with some base stealing. They didn't catch anyone stealing. Did they catch anyone? I don't think I saw them catch anyone.
No, that's something that they got to work on. And Rocker, it was a definite thing for him in spring training that he needed to work on. And the Reds will steal some bases if you give him the chance. So that is something that needs to be addressed. And you saw it really throughout the series. If the Rangers were so to the plate, then the Red Sox were running. They got one on deGrom. They got one on Chris Martin that almost came back to bite them. So I would say that is also something that needs to be addressed.
And that's not necessarily all on the catcher, man. You've got to get to the plate. If you've got somebody that's a threat to run, maybe work in that slide step, whatever you got to do. Because for Rocker, for sure, I mean, they just took off on Rocker every time he had to go from the stretch, that one spring training game, they were taking off on him. But, I guess the side that was, it was kind of fun to watch for us during this series over the weekend, but looked like just unbelievable for him was Rafael the Devers and what he did. My gosh, you talk about starting bad. And he just looked after the game. He looked so dejected, 12 strikeouts and 15 at bats. That's not a way to start a series. And he's obviously lost. He looks behind on everything.
Well, hey, the Rangers took advantage of it, and maybe the next time they face the Red Sox, he'll be what he's normally doing, hitting 300 and all of that. But hey, they pitched to him. I know Luke Jackson walked him in the 9th inning yesterday, which was a little concerning. But they took advantage of a situation they needed to take advantage of. So good for them. Good for the Rangers. It's a great series. They won 3 out of 4. So heading to Cincinnati on a happy flight last night, and a little momentum going. So just 158 more to go. So let's not get too excited though.
Yeah, 5:40 start here Central Time. They're going to be starting tonight. All right, well, let's get into a little predictions. Our show's not going to be quite as long as we normally go, guys. We're going to get a good 30 or 40 here, hopefully. But wanted to get in. First of all, let's just start out. Let's just do the league predictions and kind of see where we're at on that. Then we'll come back and do a couple of predictions for the team and what you think is going to happen there. Let's start out in the National League. We'll go into the National League East. And you kind of look at the East there, and who do you think comes out of the National League East?
I'm a Braves guy, so I'm gonna go with the Braves, and I just think with Acuna coming back, they're going to be a tougher offensive team. Spencer Strider is going to come back, and so that will also help on the pitching side once he's healthy. So I think they're going to be a handful. I know the Phillies are really, really good, but I really like the Braves, even though they're 0-4. I'm still going with the Braves.
I like the Phillies. Now there's some talk about the Mets, especially with the Soto signing and an owner with a pocketbook that apparently extends halfway across the United States. But Phillies or Braves for me too. I think I'm going to pull on the Phillies on there. That's a lineup that's pretty stout, and I'm legitimately, I'm kind of semi a Harper fan. I've always just kind of liked the grit that guy plays with. I can't pull for Philly because I think Philly fans are the worst in America, but they're good. I think they're going to be good, and I like what you see there, so I'm going Phillies. Let's go to the Central. National League Central, what do you think is coming out of there?
I think the Cubs are gonna be the best team there. I don't think it's a great division again. There's hope that always hope that the Reds are gonna spark up, and the Pirates, maybe this is their year. I think the Brewers lost too much from last season's team, although they do get Christian Yelich back, and we're really good without him for a lot of last year. I'm going with the Cubs.
Yeah, it's hard to go against the Cubs too in that division. I'm semi pulling for Cincinnati just because of our buddy, and he had something. We were trying to get him on today. Josh Sneed, of course, the stand-up comedian who joins us every year when Cincinnati and the Rangers are playing. He couldn't make it today, but he's a huge Cubs fan, and I appreciate a good fan of somebody and just kind of pours into it. So I like Cincinnati. I've been to Great American Ballpark. Kathy and I visited there a few years ago, but I kind of think the Cubs also. My in-laws are big Cub fans, so I just kind of see them. I see them also coming out. I do like Cincinnati, but I think the Cubs are going to be hard to beat, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the National League West. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, but we'll go ahead and do it anyway.
Oh, you mean the Dodgers? Yeah, I think the Dodgers have got that one pretty good chance to win the West.
Yeah, I'm a guy, and I say it until you knock them off. You go with the past champs. So I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with the Dodgers also. 3 wild card teams. Where do you think they're going to come out of? Who do you think is going to make it?
Yeah, I have the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, and the Padres, being the 3 wild card teams. So 2 from the West, 1 from the East, nothing from the Central.
Okay. I have got, for me, I'm going to have the Braves, obviously, since I picked Philly to win the National League East. And then I also think the West is, although the Dodgers are the top of the cream of the crop there, I think the West is still a good division out there. I do think the Diamondbacks have proved even last year that they didn't make the playoffs. I know that, but they're formidable and going to do that. So I like the Diamondbacks and the Padres also to make the wild card. I think you and I there, we just kind of switched off. You've got the Braves over Philadelphia and them making the wild card. I've got the Philly over Braves, but the Braves making it. Who's going to come out of the National League? Who do you think is going to be the team that wins the pennant?
Yeah, even though I've picked the Braves to win the East, I think the Phillies will prevail and win the National League.
I'm leaning towards the Phillies all the way, but it's this one thing I always go with, and there's only one division this year that I won't do that in, but in divisions it doesn't matter. But until someone knocks off the Dodgers, I pick the Dodgers to win the National League just because, hey, they're the champs, knock them off. They did some stuff this offseason. They got better. But baseball's a different animal. I mean, you got to be good. Being good doesn't necessarily mean anything because you can lose to anybody any night with any lineup. That's just a fact. So
you get into a short series with a really good pitching staff.
Yep,
anything can happen, and
absolutely.
I think the Phillies have a great pitching staff, and if at least starting rotation, and if the Phillies can get into a series with the Dodgers, they can shut them down, and they really could.
Yep, and I'll give a prime example, and it goes all the way back to high school. There was a Duncanville High School team back in the 90s that was the number 1 team in the country. They had Todd Ritchie. I don't know if you remember that name, Steve Gibraltar, bunch of teams. I went out and watched them play 3 or 4 times just because where my office was. They were beating everybody by 15 runs. They were just killing everybody. It was obvious they were going to go win state. Duncanville had won state a few years in the past, and they were kind of a perennial powerhouse. But when it came down to playoffs in UIL baseball, opposing teams could win a toss. You could do 2 out of 3, or you could do a 1 game. And Todd Van Poppel and the Arlington, whatever he was at the Colts or whoever, they won. Martin, they won the toss and said, let's just play 1 game. And Todd Van Poppel beat Ritchie, and that's what sent him out of there. And so that's the way that thing works sometimes. I mean, short series, you got 2 good pitchers. They can stifle an offense if you're living off your offense. Look what happened to the Rangers back in the 90s, who were one of the best offenses ever, who couldn't score on the Yankees because they had a pitching staff.
For sure, 100%.
For sure. So. All right, let's go to the American League, and we'll start out in the East. Wow, American League East. Who do you think is coming out of there?
Well, I think Boston is. I like them. Just even what happened over the weekend. I mean, they are in every game, and they have good starting pitching. They have some big bullpen arms. So I'm gonna and they've got a lot of young stars getting ready to come up through the system, even after the Garrett Crochet trade, when they traded the catcher Teal and some other good prospects. They still have Roman Anthony, who's like the top prospect in baseball. That Christian Campbell kid afforded it looked pretty good. So that's who I am going with, the Boston Red Sox.
I'm going to go with the Orioles. I just like the Orioles. They're a young team. They're a talented team. I think, going out and get Corbin Burns to head that rotation. They've done well the last couple of years. I think this is the year that they kind of put things together. I think they come out of the East. Although you look at what the Yankees did this weekend, but 2 things. I mean, that was amazing what the Yankees did, 15 home runs in a weekend, all of that. The weird thing with the bats, that's a strange thing. They changed their bat somehow. It's got a bigger area around the
they moved the barrel to where the hitter most frequently hits the ball off the bat.
Hey,
not all of them are doing it, but
right.
Enough of them are, and it happened in New York. So it's going to be a big story. But there's a player for the Rays who's using one. I believe there's one for the Blue Jays who's using one. So it'll spread like hotcakes. Or
Yeah,
like
and
fire. Yeah.
but again, I watched some of that series this weekend, with the family in town, and my uncle likes to watch a bunch of ball. So we were watching some of that Yankee series. Let me tell you what, I know there were 15 home runs, but I would bet half of those at that place, half of those might have been that's the only place they were going to be home runs. A lot of wind blowing, and that's a short fence. It's kind of like playing at a little league field, personally. So, eventually that team won't play, and they're going to play half their games on the road. And they have to do that in other places too. And you know what? They gave up a lot of runs too. So it wasn't like the pitching staff was holding everyone at bay. They won that game. They scored 20 runs, and then what was it, 8 or 9 runs that were scored against them
Saturday? Yeah.
On Saturday. That's fun to watch for a fan, I guess, but that's not pretty. All right, let's go to the American League Central.
I'm going to go with the Royals. I think the Royals have a fantastic player in Bobby Witt, good pitching, and Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo, but beyond that, and they had. I know spring training doesn't matter because the Royals did lose 2 out of 3 to open the season, but they were just really good in spring training. A lot of offense, pitched well. So I'll take the KC Royals.
KC Royals coming out of there. I like the Royals too. Cleveland's a team to watch coming out of the American League Central, but I like the Royals. I like they're young. Of course, I've talked to a few of those guys. Cole Reagans, we're big fans of. He's come on the show, he look, that guy solidified himself as a major league starter. And aside from Ohtani, you're right. Witt might be the best player in Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
he's something else.
He does everything,
and he's just a good dude, just a really good guy. So I think the Royals come out of there. All right, let's go to the American League West. Who do you see coming out of the West?
I think the Rangers will win it. The offense is going to be good. They have some questions on the pitching side, but I think deGrom answered one of them yesterday. He's going to be fine. Lighter,
looked good.
That was good. So, and guys are going to get healthy. This is just potentially a temporary thing. But if these guys pitch well, then maybe they stay in the rotation for a long time. But Gray and Bradford will be back. The team's going to get deeper because Spores is going to come back too. So the team is actually going to improve in theory as the season goes along without making any acquisitions at the trade deadline. So I think the Rangers are the better team.
I do too, and I'm a homer. I'm an admitted homer. You're not. You are a unbiased just journalist. I am a homer, but last year I didn't pick the Rangers to win it, but this year I think so. I did talk to Spores the other day. He is throwing some. He's not off the mound yet, but he's doing some stuff there. So, he still says he's going to be at 75 feet, something like that. You kind of know it's not Tommy John that he's dealing with. Isn't it a shoulder thing?
Shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes to the mound and does that. But yeah, he said, it'll be at least June,
he's got a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a while to come back. So I like the Rangers too. Wild card. Who do you think is going to come out of the wild card?
I think that there'll be one from each division. I'm going to go Orioles, Guardians, Astros.
Okay. All right. Now I'll say Boston coming out of there. And I've got two. I've got Central. I've got the Cleveland. I think Cleveland comes out of there also. And out of the West, who did you say coming out of the West?
I said the Astros.
Okay. I think Seattle will be better. They haven't hit. And I get that. The A's are another team. Look, they might be sneaky good this year. They made a couple of moves. They signed Rooker to an extension. That was kind of something else. They went out and signed Severino and did that. And they just tend to know how to spoil Ranger fun. That's for one thing, no matter how good they are or not. But I agree. I think every team will have representation because I think at the top of every division, there are 2 teams that will be solid all year. I think the Yankees aren't going to make it. I don't think with the pitching injuries they've had, that they're going to have to produce at an offensive level that I just can't. I think eventually that doesn't carry them anywhere. You're going to run into pitching that'll shut you down one night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could. You definitely could. I mean, that division's going to be tough. So, yeah, I think that sounds about right. I think, and then I think the Rangers will win the American League. If that's our next prediction, right?
It is.
Short series, deGrom, Evaldi, they can address things at the trade deadline, and the lineup's deep enough that they're not going to get held down for it's going to be hard to hold them down for an entire series. It could happen, but I think the Rangers and Phillies will go to the World Series, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll just take the Rangers. A little bit of a homer pick. I'm trying to generate some good vibes. I'd like another book deal. I think that would be a lot of fun. So we'll see what happens there. But let's do Rangers, Phillies, Rangers. All right.
I also have the Phillies. And look, I've said this all along. You've said it all along. You need 3 good pitchers for the playoffs. You need 3 good starters. They've got deGrom and they've got Evaldi, who are 2 guys that even if they're semi-off can hold the team to 3 runs, or even 4 at the worst. But they know how to pitch. They don't walk a lot of people. They throw strikes. They come after you. And after that, look, this is the first series of the year. But you look at what Jack Leiter did. In that start, that could be the third. You got John Gray, who looked amazing in spring training. I mean, John Gray looked great. He's finally healthy with that foot. It was that thing he had with his foot that's healthy. This is just a freak accident. Cody Bradford, who did so well last year. Rocker, let's see if Rocker gets his strike zone together and figure. Remember how Chris Young said at spring training, when he had that spring when he played for Bochy, and boy, couldn't get anybody out, and Bochy looked at him and said, "You're just off a second. You're just one little inch, you're off." It's just a matter of figuring that thing out. Where Rocker's got the stuff, if he finds it, he could be – they just got so much depth. There's 3 guys there to face any team in the playoffs, which you need 3 good starters. They've got 3 good starters out of those 6 or 7. They'll find 3.
Yeah.
That's the reason that I think that they'll do well. Now, who do you got winning it all? You got the Rangers. I do. I'm going to go with the Dodgers. I'm a Ranger homer. I want the Rangers to win it. I'm not apologetic about wanting the Rangers to win it. You do, because you got a book deal out of it, and that's always fun. But I'm going to go Dodgers just because the Dodgers were the champs last year, and you got to knock off the champs from the year before. And so I'll go with the Dodgers there. Who do you think will be the AL and NL MVP?
National League MVP. It's going to be Ohtani. He's going to start pitching, and that's going to boost his value on WAR. And it's not any fun, but it's going to be Ohtani.
There isn't anybody in the National League. I mean, I guess Soto that you could kind of try to play that game with.
Soto, Lindor.
But Ohtani with the pitching, and unless Ohtani hits 200 and doesn't hit but 20 home runs, there's no way the writers love him, and he'll get that. He'll get that MVP. AL MVP for me, I think Bobby Witt Jr. wins it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go with that too. It's a popular choice nationally. Aaron Judge is another guy who guys look to, and Gunnar Henderson, who started the year on the injured list. Those seem to be the popular choices. But Bobby just does it all, and does it all at a very, very high level.
All right, let's go to. I'll do one more. I'm not going to do Rookie of the Year. Let's do Cy Young. You think deGrom wins it in the American League?
No, I don't. I don't know that he's going to make enough starts. I still, you kind of look at it and it's like 25 starts, 150 innings, 100. That's probably not enough, and it may be outstanding. It has changed, with these guys who, 150 innings is actually a lot of innings these days. Yeah, sure. It really has. But I'll take Logan Gilbert from the Mariners as the Cy Young winner.
What about Corbin Burns? I think
he's in
deGrom
the league now.
Do what?
He's in the National League now.
Oh, it's with the Orioles.
He was, but he was a free agent. Now he's with the Diamondbacks.
God dang, that's right. I've got the Orioles picture there. All right. So you think Logan Gilbert? I'm going with deGrom. I think deGrom, I think that his ERA is going to be below 2 just because that's what he normally does. I think he wins. Look, if the Rangers can do any kind of scoring like you think, I think he can win 13, 14 games for sure. Easy. I think the day of the 20-game winner is kind of gone. I mean, you don't see it a lot. But I like deGrom. I think he's going to have a low ERA. I think he's going to win 13, 14 games. I think he's going to start more games than people think, especially if they did. Look, they pulled him out yesterday with, 83 pitches? 73. And he could have gone again. I guarantee he probably lobbied for it. He felt fine. He was dealing pretty good, but it was a smart move. Get him out of there and go from there. But anyway, so National League.
I'll let you go first.
National League Cy Young. I'll go Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
I like Burns. I think he's good. So I'll go. You know what? That was my pick. I meant National League.
He lives in Scottsdale, so he's kind of going to have the comforts of home. He's great. I don't want to take anything away from him. He is a terrific starting pitcher. I will counter you with Zach Wheeler from the Phillies. Probably one of the top 5 starters in the game. Throws it hard. Is going to get plenty of run support for those of the voting electorate who still like wins. So give me Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, and if deGrom doesn't start what I think Tariq Skubal's the guy that comes out of the AL.
But he's pretty hard to beat.
He's pretty hard to beat. He's a good. I like him, but I'm going to go the homer call and go with deGrom. Okay, let's go to Rangers predictions.
All right.
Let's go into what we say here. So first of all, how many games do you think they're going to win?
93 and 69 for the Texas Rangers.
That's good. I mean, look, I love that. I want to see that. I still think that you can win over 85 games and make the playoffs some way or another. I think the Rangers are going to come in right under 90 and win 88 games this year.
Still win the division.
And still win the division. I really do. Okay. I think that they could easily win 95 games. That's just a team that talented, obviously. But I think they come in at 88 and win the division. Coming out of there. Okay. So what do you think? Who is the Rangers MVP?
I think it's going to be Wyatt Langford. He's just hitting the ball hard. He's in a great spot in the lineup behind Seager and Simeon. He can steal bases. I think that he learned a lot from last year, and he's comfortable now and has all that information in his head. So I will take Wyatt Langford as Rangers MVP.
Okay, I will go with Corey Seager. That's an easy pick to go with. Also, it's hard to beat Seager. He puts up good numbers every year, but Langford, it wouldn't surprise me. I think Langford's going to have a big year. The way he ended last season, especially, and the way he's looked this season, selective at the plate, he hits the ball hard no matter what. Puts good swings on things. I do think he could, but I'll pick Seager. Just kind of like he's the MVP usually. Let's get him. Knock him off the throne of that. The pitcher of the year for the Rangers. Who do you think the pitcher of the year is?
I'll go with deGrom. I think he'll be good enough to win that award. Have enough starts. Plus, I do get to vote for it. So yeah.
I don't, but deGrom, I say he was going to win the AL Cy Young, so I have to say he's going to be the pitcher of the year. Now, here's a little different. Who do you think has the most wins?
Well,
Evo, because he's going to get more starts.
Yeah, I'll say Evaldi, just because he's going to get a lot of starts. Assuming he stays healthy, right. Which you can't really assume with him. But I'll go ahead and say he'll be the team leader in wins.
Okay, who is going to be the team leader in home runs, and how many do you think it is?
I think it'll be Adolis and 36.
Okay. I think he's going to get 40.
All right.
So I think it is going to be Doley. He said 50. I don't think he'll get to 50. I think he's going to get to 40, though. And I think Adolis will do it, too. And who will be the rookie of the year? And I think the obvious choices are one of the two starting rotation guys.
Yeah, I'll take Jack Leiter. He just seems to be in a good place.
Then I'll take Kumar Rocker, even though I think Jack Leiter probably wins it too. But I'm going to be pulling for Kumar to do it. I'd love to see them both battling it out and just have a great years. Both of them win close to 10 games apiece. Keep that ERA under 4 and go out there and strike some people out and just, you know what, get yourself 130 innings this year and 120, something like that. Maybe even just 100. Who cares? You get both those guys doing that. This team's going to be good.
Yeah. And again, when Patrick Corbin's ready and when Bradford and Gray are back, then their roles may change, but they may pitch their tails off and Rangers may be like, they're staying. So, entirely possible.
You got to force the issue.
Entirely possible.
Force the issue. If you're forcing the issue, how can you take him out of the rotation the way he's pitching? That's a great problem to have.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
All right. This is the prediction show, guys. I don't see there's anything else. Cincinnati Reds tonight. They're going to be at 5:40 Central Time.
We probably ought to go over the minor league rosters real fast.
Yeah. Let's do that. The guys, especially the guys to watch for at each level, the kind of the higher prospects at each level.
Yeah. AAA. I know right now that's where Evan Carter. And of course, we're going to be watching him a lot. There's no question about that. But if you had to ask me who's a guy to watch who isn't named Evan Carter, I would say Dustin Harris, because I think, well, I'll say two. Dustin Harris, because he did have a better spring.
Sure.
He was there till the very end. They liked the fact that he added some speed to his swing. So I like Harris there. And then Teodo, the pitcher. Obviously, you got to watch him because right now, like Ross said last week, they're only stretching him out to 3 innings, potentially to move him to the rotation or the Rangers. I'm sorry, if it's needed, the Rangers bullpen. If everything looks pretty good here, then he can go back to being a starter and continue his development there. He's just really good, and he impressed a lot of people during spring training. So, and plus they really are prospects, Harris and Teodo. You could say, oh, hey, watch out for Dane Dunning, but let's not do that. Let's go ahead and go strict prospects here. Yeah,
I think the person everyone's going to watch is going to be Carter, because everyone's got their eye on Carter to see what he does. This weekend, he didn't play yesterday. He played the first 2 nights. He only got 1 hit. He's hitting 111. Had a couple balls. Huh?
I yawned. Excuse me.
Sorry. Had a couple of balls come off at over 100 miles an hour, which is good. I mean, he's putting some barrels on it. He did have a walk the first night. Look, the main thing to watch on Evan Carter, I said it on the minor league recap. If anybody watched that's going to try to come out daily. I may not catch every single day, but you're going to get 4 a week at least, just little spurts of what's happening every night in the minor leagues, is that he needs to be seeing a lot of pitches. And if his strikeouts are equal with his walks, that's his game. His game is plate approach and plate discipline. And if Evan Carter gets back on the path he needs to be on, you got to watch that on-base percentage. That's his game. And then the hits will come. If he's only swinging at good pitches and he's barreling those pitches, it's not his fault if they go right at people. That's where you need to watch him and what he needs to do. Yeah.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so it's just when it happens.
Yeah, that's what he's done every level. He's done that. Even at the big league level when he first got up here. He's just off and he's got to get it right, but that's his game. And that's what he'll do. I also agree Teodo's a big name to watch down there. 3 innings, that gives you the option of whether you want to keep him in the starting rotation as a starter or whether you want to move him to the bullpen doing 3 innings at a time. So obviously he's not going to go back-to-back right now on that, right? Are they going to try to get him to go back-to-back?
No, I don't think so. They're going to get him stretched out to 3. And
So
because
yeah,
I think they envision him pitching multiple innings if they do need him for the bullpen.
yeah. And Dustin Harris, we're always pulling for Dustin. Just a
Yep.
good guy. And
Yep.
boy, I tell you what, he thinned out. That's why that speed's up. I mean, he thinned out a good way, not a bad
Well,
way.
I don't think he got any thinner. He just kind of bulked up. He's
He looked thinner to me.
well, okay, that's fine. I think it's because he's bigger up top.
I'll tell you what, the talent in this organization, two of the most talented are playing at the AA level at the Frisco Rough Riders.
Yeah, obviously everybody's going to be watching Sebastian Walcott to see if he can
19-year-old Sebastian Walcott.
be everything that everybody expects him to be. It's not just the Rangers. It's on the national level, he's one of the top 100 prospects. At the Athletic, he's their number 2 overall prospect. So Sebastian, sure, could he help the big league team at some point this year? It's feasible. I don't know that he needs to. I don't know that you need to rush that. And then Alejandro Osuna, who I think will be with the big league club at some point, assuming he can replicate what he did in spring training, where he was, the Rangers' best player. He was their best player in spring training.
Or at every level.
Does everything right. Does it with a passion and a joy, and just really likes ball. If you're looking for a pitcher, well, I mean the pitching side's got a lot of guys.
Yes.
I was curious that Robbie Alstrom was on the AA roster, not the AAA roster. I guess just because all the guys with minor league deals in spring training are all at AAA, but Alstrom's a guy who was very, very good in spring training. Mike Maddox and Bruce Bochy love him, so that never hurts. But you got Cole Drake, our guy Mitch Bratt, and Josh Stephen. Josh Stephen had a great spring.
Yeah.
All indications are that he had a really, really good spring, and he's healthy and throws like 5 pitches and throws hard. And if he's healthy, he could ascend quickly to the next level at Round Rock.
Yep. All right. Hub City Spartanburgers. That's the high A affiliate now. The Hickory Crawdads have gone down. Who are we looking for there?
Well, it's a pretty good team. The young guys, and then there's some guys who've just been there forever. It seems like, but Malcolm Moore is gonna be there. And it's interesting. Julian Brock is going to be one of the other catchers who went to college and is a really experienced guy. So that could be a pretty good pairing and a good guy for Moore to learn from, frankly, to see him. And then, the outfield looks really good with Casey Cook, Dylan Dreiling. Dreiling was the 2nd round pick last year. Cook, 3rd round, but Anthony Gutierrez is healthy now. Keith Jones, who was a top 10 pick, he's going to end up there. So there's a lot of talent in that outfield. And then the pitching side is kind of the young guys who did so well last year at low A, who they graduated kind of late in the year. So like Paul Bonzagni, who's from Grapevine, David Davalio, who's a real popular choice among people who follow Rangers prospects. Jose Gonzalez was so good down there last year, but you see guys who are back there like Larson Kindrich, who's been there. I think this might be his 3rd season there, and then our guy Aiden Curry is going to be back there too. So
is Brock there?
No, Brock Porter is not there.
Is he going down to low A?
Yes.
Okay, that's a name to watch. I mean, this is a guy that's kind of trying to reinvent himself. Speaking of that, if you're finished there, it's time to go down to low A. To the Hickory Crawdads. That's the babies of the league. You got some of your guys that, some of your young Latin players tend to start there if they're going to play stateside for the first time coming in there. So who sticks out to you from Hickory?
The pitching always seems to dominate this league. Caden Scarborough, who's the 6th rounder in 23, is a guy who's really taken off of his development. He's a prep pitcher, so I like him. And then all the young Latin infielders, Jeremy Cabrera, Pablo Guerrero. They're going to be there. Jose De Jesus, an outfielder, is going to be there. So, yeah,
Is
that's
Santino not coming over?
Huh?
Is Paulino, is he not coming over yet?
He was in Arizona for spring training.
I saw that.
I think that he's
Going to play ACL.
Probably going to be an extended, and probably will play in the complex league.
And then in the season, maybe,
unless they just want to kind of limit his playing time, so they put him on a schedule here. It's extended, and then he could potentially go out to Hickory and play maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Not grind him into the ground, but yeah, he was at spring training
I saw him
from the first day. Yeah.
Who was the long-haired third baseman that what's his name? Was he in last year's draft? He looks like a surfer dude.
I'm not sure who you're referencing, John.
I'm trying to think. Anyway, I've heard some stuff on it. I saw him out there. He plays third base. He's like 6'4". You know what, guys? I'll figure it out. I'm going blank here, and I just noticed him on those backfields. He looked pretty smooth there, fielding the ball. And of course, batting practice is always fun to watch. You see a guy that barrels a few up. I'll look him up. I'd looked him up then. He is somebody they drafted last year, who. It wasn't early. He's, mid-round, something like that. I'll figure out who it was. I'm drawing a blank.
Okay.
That's it, though. I mean, so that's basically it on the rosters. They're going to start up Friday night, full season. Lots of prospects. Look, this organization now is about 15 in baseball. They've dropped down.
Yeah, I think one had them at 19. So
they're top heavy.
Yeah, they seem top heavy, and like Ross said, they don't really pay attention to those rankings much, anyways. But I'm sure if they were 3 or 4, they'd be playing it up pretty big time. But
sure, yeah,
I think that this team is going to be, or this system's going to produce some guys. They're going to have the opportunity if they would like to trade from it. They've had that availability. I really think that they could have done that in the off season, made some deals. So, long way to go.
Two of their top prospects are like you got Rocker that's up at the top. He's gonna
graduate. Leiter
he'll graduate this year. Is Leiter still ranked?
He's not. No, but he's maybe one of their top 10 guys. So he'll graduate assuming he stays in the majors for a while.
Yeah. Yep. Mark Church will graduate. Should. We'll see. I mean, he may be an up and down guy. He's only pitched in one game. He looked okay. He walked a couple guys, but you know what? He had to be amped up. So I still expect great things for him. The back of the bullpen, golly, you can't argue right now. I mean, you don't have the dominant closer that you love, but you got some guys that have pitched leverage situations. Sorry, that just kind of jumped out of nowhere and go back to the Rangers bullpen. But I tell you what, I feel way more comfortable with this bullpen than the 2023 bullpen.
All right, I could buy that, I guess. There's more proven track record. Just not necessarily a thunderous arm. So I don't know. Maybe they'll add it. We'll see. But I think that the bullpen is going to be okay. But I do think that in October you need somebody who can throw the piss out of it. And so I think that you might see an addition of somebody who just absolutely just throws hard and makes it really hard makes it uncomfortable at bat for guys.
And they have those guys in the system, and we'll see if they can do there. For those that can't tell, there is some tension between Jeff and I. Tonight, The Lady Horned Frogs are taking on the Lady Longhorns in the Elite Eight. TCU is going to be playing Texas. If you can't tell that we are at each other's throat here as we get ready for that. Hey, I watched both of those. I don't get into girls basketball a lot, but both teams are doing well. And since my uncle, who watches everything Longhorns, we wanted to watch TCU. They got a big girl there. She's pretty good. The TCU girl that plays in the mill.
Sedona Prince. Yeah, she's interesting. She's had some.
She's mouthy
of beating up her past girlfriends.
Yeah,
but she's expected to be like a top pick in the NBA draft. But Haley Van Lith is a really good player. She was in the Olympics in the 3-on-3 team, and she's been their best player in the postseason. But that's too much to talk about women's basketball.
Absolutely.
We need to move on.
That's it. Hey, guys, we're going to end this thing. Anything else for you?
No, nothing else.
Anything on the Daily Show coming up this week?
No special guests or anything. We're going to be off on Thursday, so we gotta start working on that for both of them. We need our guests, and this is a rare week where we didn't have them. We just didn't get one lined up, but with
busy week.
With minor season starting, we ought to be able to grab some more minor league guys. And we always get a major leaguer or two to come on. So, should be a good season. Should be a good fun season.
Especially on road trips, they're easier to get. But we got to get into the season and get rolling. And it was just a busy week with opening day, a lot of stuff going on. And hey, if you didn't notice, DLLS had a lot of presence out there between me, Abby, Radigan was out there. You were out there, obviously. DLLS is covering all your Texas Rangers this year, and you're going to have it coming from a lot of different people. Videos are going to get out quickly after every game that we're at. I mean, this is some A coverage for your Texas Rangers. It's the best coverage that you can get in the Metroplex. And not just that, go out there and the Stars, the Cowboys, the Mavericks, all of that coverage is there. If you want to fire Nico, go over to the Mavericks show and listen to them talk about it for you. Obviously, everyone hates Jerry Jones, the Cowboys, and every move they're making. The draft is coming up. You better go over there and catch the Cowboys show and what they're doing. And, of course, the Stars are about to make the playoffs and make their run. So lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff at DLLS Sports. Go hit that subscribe button down there. Hit it for us, too, right here. Guys, we're done. For Jeff Wilson, I'm John Moore. Until next time, we'll see you at the yard.